All right. Welcome back, everyone. And up next, right up for you, we've got Tapioca with Yakuza. Yakuza? Whatever.
Yakuza.
Take it away.
All right. Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Tapioca, and I'm running Yakuza. Not Yakuza Kiwami, not Zero, not Like a Dragon, just the original, real deal, OG Yakuza 1. A game not many Yakuza fans have actually played. But I've started running this game back in like September 2018. And back then, there were really only like 3 or 4 people running Yakuza games. And back then, it was like we only really ran this and Zero, and none of the other games even had routes. Nobody had looked into it. And since then, basically, Yakuza has taken over my entire speedrunning life. I've run almost every game in the series. We've routed all of them. The community has grown from like 3 people to like 300 people. And it's just been a completely insane ride the entire time. So obviously, for one and done-a-thon, if I only get one game, gotta go with the game that started it all. So without further ado, my cheesy speech is over, and I guess I can start the run now. We're good to go. Can start in 3, 2, 1, go. So this game is entirely in Japanese, by the way. This was released in English on PS2, but the PS2 version is super slow because it has bad loads and it lags a bunch. So I'm playing the Japanese-only PS3 HD version. The run is almost exactly the same. In fact, the run is exactly the same. They only made one tiny change to the game, and I will point that out when it's time. But it doesn't affect anything. So the run is effectively the same. It's just like 20 minutes faster. This is why the Japanese doesn't matter. That's how fast you can mash the text in this game. It's as fast as you can press buttons. So that actually comes into play later. We can mash text so fast that you can clip out of bounds.
What?
Yeah, there's a weird glitch with the cutscenes. You'll see it, like an hour and a half from now? Anyway, we're heading into the first fight already. This is the tutorial. It says Peace Finance versus President Hirata here at the golf club. The game, I don't think they'd quite figured out how to do tutorials yet. They're going to force us to do every single thing 3 times. There's the squares. Here's the square triangle. Every individual step of this combo has to happen 3 times. This is the most important attack in the game, by the way, the gut punch. You're going to be seeing a lot of gut punches in this game, and the reason why, well, really there's a lot of reasons why, but the main reason why is because the hitbox is so insanely wide. If you ask anyone what they know about Yakuza 1, they're basically going to answer one of 2 things, either the terrible English dub, which we're unfortunately not going to be hearing today, or that the collision is terrible, or rather, not the collision, but the combat. And the combat is truly terrible. Just like Kiryu can't aim. He's constantly going to be whiffing all of his punches. There's not much I can do about that. And just in general, a wide hitbox that allows me to potentially hit multiple enemies at once is such an asset. We're going to be doing tons of gut punches. So before I finish the tutorial, I want to bring everyone over to this door. Going to be a little faster to finish them off here, because the last thing they're going to ask us to do is heat actions, which is this game's sort of special attack. The heat attacks, that was bad. You can't do them unless the blue bar in the top left is filled up, and to fill up the blue bar in the top left, we have to punch people. So what I'm going for and completely failing at is hitting multiple people at once to try to fill the bar faster. There we go. And then we can just slam them against the door. Not quite, needed a bit more there. All right, perfect. And the last guy, we just get to finish him off. At this point in the game, the fastest way of killing normal enemies is to do this, and then you stomp them. That will change in like 10 minutes from now when we finally start buying upgrades.
That's interesting for a game that became, like, is so well known for its combat that, like, the first game is just bad at combat.
Oh yeah, these games, I personally love them, and I think that everyone who doesn't is just a complainer, but they're pretty rough. Here's another guy. I made sure to end the fight in a certain way so that I had max heat, so that I had time to grab him and slam him into the wall, so that's that fight done. Finishing off enemies with heat actions actually does matter. Well, I guess it doesn't matter quite as much as it used to. You get extra experience for it. In an older version of the route, we had to do this intro section of the game really, really carefully. Otherwise, you wouldn't have enough experience. But nowadays, we just never have enough, and it's fine. We have better strats. This is like the next day or something. I'm not even going to attempt to explain this entire game's plot. It's much less complicated than later games, but still more complicated than I can do while also playing it. But anyway, we are now going to go hand in the money. People who have played Yakuza Kiwami might notice something missing here. We are not getting the ring back. That entire, basically half of the first chapter of the game was just straight up invented. And in this game, you don't have to do any of it. We can just go straight to the end, which is awesome. There's a bunch of moments like that in Kiwami where they just like added a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to get too much into it. It's hard for me to play this game without complaining about the remake. I'm going to try my best, but there are a bunch of moments when there's like slightly different content. Mostly just that there's less stuff in this game. That being said, this game is still longer because the remake is very, very broken. There's some weird tech in that game. Some people are going to be chasing after me on the left. If they caught me, they'd start a cutscene, but I already know they're going to be there, so I just stick to the right side of the screen. And similarly, coming up here, we're going to have a refight with President Hirata from Peace Finance, except we're actually not, because I'm just going to hug this wall here, making sure not to touch anybody. And yeah, you can just completely ignore them too. In later Yakuza games, they got a bit better at making sure that you can't just skip things. But in this game, there's going to be all kinds of things in the map, and we're hoping to skip literally all of it. I shouldn't get caught by a single NPC in this run. Now I'm in prison. 10-year time skip occurs right here. This will bring us to the boss of Chapter 1, which is Fork Sky, otherwise known as Inmate 1356, I want to say. Did I get that right? Yeah, there we go, 1356. But we just call him Fork Sky because there's his forks. Fork Sky is the first instance of this game being a total RNG nightmare. Yep, there we go. It's already begun. So we're trying to build heat so that we can finish him off with a heat action as quickly as possible. His minions are being really unusually aggressive today. And if we're lucky, he'll let me actually do it. There we go. But he could also just choose to immediately escape my grab over and over again for the entire fight. And that's always pretty cool. Fortunately, he was a little bit cooperative today, though his minions kept knocking me down. That was Chapter 1. The first 3 chapters of this game are a little bit restrictive. Once we get into Chapter 4, they open up the whole city. But for now, we're actually just confined to the bottom left corner, walking up and down this street over and over again. We're heading to a fight with Punk-ass Abe is the guy's name. Oh, by the way, you can tell that this is a 10-year time gap because that sign on the right says DVD and Book Turkey, whereas it used to say VHS rentals on it. That's how you know. Literally the only difference they make.
That's actually kind of clever, though, to show like a time skip. Like, obviously, you see it in the cutscenes, but
yeah,
it's kind of cool that they updated it.
It's that, and there's one building that changes as well, but just that the map changes at all is kind of a good attention to detail sort of thing. This game in general does a really insane job with attention to detail, given that they made it on a pretty tight budget for the PlayStation 2. That's him. He tells me where an info dealer is. The info dealer tells me where the club is. We already walked by the club, but we have to know where it is first, I guess. That lady in the pink dress back there is a sub-story. Anyone who's played Yakuza or has even really heard of Yakuza at all at this point is probably familiar with this game's sub-stories. They're just like side quests. We're going to be doing some of them because we need money, but we're going to be skipping most of them, so I have to have all of those memorized. So Pink Dress Lady is one that we used to do in the route for money, but now we just skip. So she's going to sit there walking back and forth for the entire game, I think. And I'll just have to keep dodging her whenever she shows up. Yeah, we used to do Pink Dress Lady so we could take a level up here, but now we just have to do the next fight completely level 1, which is a little bit more annoying, but not so much worse. Here's Stardust, the club we walked by. We have to fight Yuya. Yuya's the man. I'm a big Yuya fan. We're going to slam him into this wall over here. Heat actions are pretty good. We're going to be doing a lot of heat actions in this game. There we go. So what I'm going for is we're trying to grab him as he's standing back up. There's a really tight timing where you're allowed to do that. All right, good. That was not the timing, so I am lucky that he let me get away with that. I'm just building up heat between heat actions. 2 is usually all you can fit in. That was like a perfect Yuya. That was pretty good. Don't worry, he's not dead or anything. He's just taking a nap. Kazuma Kiryu has never killed anyone.
I mean,
Can't do a Yakuza run without dropping that one.
It seems like you're kind of just mulching these dudes in combat. Like
Yeah.
that they're really not providing any issue.
See, I think that's one cutscene. Yep. All right, so we're heading back down here, and it is time for the boss of this chapter, which is this man in a suit. I don't think he even gets a name. I mean, I'm sure he has a name, but I don't know what it is. He's not a very important character, but he is holding a mic stand, which makes him a boss. So what I'm going to try to do, and you'll see me doing this a lot with the sort of multiple enemy fights, I'm going to try to bring them all over here, and hopefully this little corner will cause me to group them up, and then we can maybe gut punch multiple of them at the same time. Didn't quite work at all. It doesn't usually work too well in this fight because we have Yuya and Kazuki working with us, and they're just constantly distracting all the enemies. But this is looking pretty good. Well, never mind. It was looking pretty good, and the boss knocked me over. We'll be getting an equipment, or not equipment, but we'll be getting a level up that helps me not get knocked over starting in Chapter 4. But until then, actually a lot of the time loss is going to come down from just RNG knockdowns. There he goes. That was only one knockdown, so I guess that could have been worse. Oop, 2 cutscenes. Talk to our boy here, Shinji. We are now heading to Chapter 3, which is the first major set piece of the game. And also we're going to do all kinds of other stuff too. Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is a bit of a spicy one. This is where all the early game resets tend to happen. Right at the start, there's a stealth section, because this is the 2000s, and every game needs to have a stealth section. I am going to attempt to completely cheese it by just running straight down the center. And they are hopefully going to allow me to do that, but I can't really hear the game. Okay, good. They didn't catch me. Good, good, good. People who have played Kiwami will be familiar with this section, getting the badge back. In this game, you're just allowed to actually pick up the badge and take it. Whereas in Kiwami, you get caught and then you have to go and talk to a bunch of dudes. Man, I'm complaining about it again. I need to stop talking. But this is just so much simpler. We grab the badge, we're good to go. Before I do the next fight, though, I am going to take a level up. We need green level 1 and 2, and this is going to extend out the full kick combo, which you just start with in every other Yakuza game, but in this one, you have to unlock it. And I also buy yellow level 1, which is Heat Force 1. So that means that now when my heat bar is filled, I just do more damage with my basic attacks, which is pretty good. Here's the man from the Omi family. I think it's Omi family. It's the Omi Alliance, but I think the game just straight up says Omi family because they did it wrong. But this guy could knock me over anywhere from 0 times to 3 times. Hopefully it'll be 0. It's not 0. That's very cool. We've tried very hard to come up with cheese for him, and there's just none. Only 1 is about average, though. That wasn't too bad. that, we have snuck into the back of the funeral. At the moment, Kiryu has been framed for like 6 different murders and everyone wants him dead. So we have to sneak into the funeral here. And then we'll get framed for yet another murder. I'm going to stop at this guy to buy Brass Knuckles. There's my Brass Knuckles. Brass Knuckles are like an insanely OP weapon that they didn't fix until Yakuza 3. So in both this and Yakuza 2, you basically just put on the Brass Knuckles and then keep them on for almost the entire game. As long as you don't do the spin attack with them, they have infinite durability and they just power up the damage of your basic punches. So they're completely insane. They also break a guard, which is very helpful on bosses. Here's a fight with some dudes in a room. Hoping the furniture would group them a little bit better than that, but that's fine. Ugh. No, that's a little crappy. Yeah, that's not great. I got like 1 hit in on everybody. No one died there. Bit of a mess. We're hoping to just group them and be done with this fight in like 3 punches. That's pretty much Yakuza 1 though. You hope the enemies do a certain thing and then they never do it and then you lose time and that's the game.
Again, not murders, just hitting with Brass Knuckles.
Oh no, completely not murders. They're taking a nap. They have to recover.
Yeah.
They've eaten a very large meal. That's just how wide the punch is, though. You see what I mean by gut punches are really wide? That guy was literally behind me, and it's just like, whatever. Punch him real quick just to interrupt that combo. Don't touch me, thank you. He just like missed for no reason. That could have been bad. This is the set piece, though. Now we're like fully into it. This isn't just going to end in the garden. If you've never played a Yakuza game before, every game's got these. They're just these sort of like extended fight sequences. Sort of like a dungeon in a JRPG, except not. You know, it's important that this be seen. I'm going to take the knuckles off for a sec, and you are going to go into the koi pond. That's a 1-hit kill. Until very recently, we used to do that. I just think it's funny that that's a 1-hit kill, given that it's like 6 inches of water that he's falling into. They are... Okay, yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Pretty good grouping there. That would have been a fast room if I didn't stop to feed the fishes. All of these guys can just be skipped. Yakuza 1 also not very good about not just letting you run past enemies during set pieces. So we're going to be skipping like most of them. Wow, that was a terrible combo. They teamed up on that one. Kind of uncommon. The grab into the golf club. Well, that guy didn't drown. He just, his suit got all wet and he lost the will to fight because he's upset about his suit. Wow, that was actually sick. Can you stand a little closer? No? Okay. That was pretty good, though. A good hallway. We used to bring all these guys to like a weird corner in the back, and it never worked, and I'm so glad that we don't do that anymore. Jeez. Not great. Still have to deal with these guys out in the open, though, which is just a real pain in the butt. There's going to be so much grouping in this fight. This is like what most of the combat is nowadays in Yakuza 1. Good dodge. The timing on that's really tight. Probably just be a full combo. Yep. Skip those guys. Goodbye. We're going to be skipping everyone else for the entire rest of this section. We just have to leave the building in this very convoluted route around the back. I have to mention it. Kiwami 1 has a wall here that's like blocking the hallway, and you're supposed to punch the wall to break it, but it's kind of bugged, and you can grab the wall and just start running around with it, and it like clips through everything, and you can hit people with the wall, and it's really funny. Please try this sometime if you're ever playing Yakuza Kiwami. These guys, of course, skippable. Our target's in the back there. That's Shimano 1. That's going to be the first like really real boss fight. Everyone else has just been like minion but more HP. This dude actually means business and has unique attacks. Hopefully we won't be seeing any of those unique attacks because I'm going to be doing this. Not great. There's a bit of a timing you can do to these to make them mostly not miss. And after you do a couple of them, he should stagger like that. I really didn't want to end up behind him there because that knocked him down, but that's fine. And we stagger him again, and good. Okay, not a bad Shimano 1. The 1 on this name sort of betrays that we'll be seeing him again later. But that's enough of him for now. Bunch of cutscenes. The good thing about this game, you just skip all the cutscenes by holding start, and you don't even have to think about it, and it's just frame perfect.
Oh, you don't even have to hit a second button. That's really nice.
Nope. In later Yakuza games, they turn it into like 5 different button presses. By the way, here's a guy. He doesn't even notice me. That's weird. Usually he does. Not paying attention today. But yeah, in later ones, you have to do like start, left, A, and you just like spam that input, and it looks like ruins your hands, and it's terrible. But now we're in chapter 4, so the city is finally wide open. So I'm going to go ahead and immediately take like a 1.5-minute long detour here, because there are some very important pieces of equipment that I have to go and get. And they are, well, they're not here, but the locker keys for them are here. So we're going to be going down into the club and picking up locker key number 41 and number 44. Pretty much every Yakuza run involves some amount of locker keys. This is this game's only 2. And this is the Angel's Bell and the Beads of Good Fortune, I think is the English names of the items. The Angel's Bell is really the more important of the 2. I have no idea which is which. But the Angel's Bell causes enemies to be a little bit less aggressive, which especially as we get into the later game, just like that's, I don't know how to, I cannot overstate enough how ridiculously aggressive the enemies are in this game. You just cannot finish a combo at all unless you've got this bell equipped. So the bell is like required. It will be on for the entire run. The Beads of Good Fortune makes it so that enemy encounters don't spawn, except it doesn't work right, so sometimes they just spawn anyway. We need them for one very specific encounter in Chapter 7 that we don't want to see. Because I haven't mentioned it yet, but this game actually has random encounters. I will hopefully see none of them in this game. The way they work is that for every sort of chunk of the city that has its own little load zone, I need to focus on this menu. Okay, there we go. But for every chunk of the city, there is one spot where there may or may not be an encounter by random chance. And since I know where all of those spots are in the entire city, I can just avoid them. I can just move Kiryu in such a way that they won't catch me, whether or not they're there. So hopefully we'll be taking no encounters in the run. But there is one encounter in Chapter 7 who's completely unavoidable if he shows up. So I'm picking up the beads literally just for him. And hopefully he won't just spawn in anyway, which is what he did in yesterday's practice run. It was not a good omen for today. Did I get everything? I did get everything. This part of the route is kind of new, so I keep forgetting it, but we're going into the M store now to buy some sake. The replacement for Pink Dress Lady is Drunk Guy, and Drunk Guy is going to ask us for a bunch of stuff in Chapter 6, so I just need to make sure I buy it all now while I actually can. Here's the M store. Or I guess it's Poppo. Different convenience store chain. And the sake is the one that costs 1,100 yen, and we're buying 2 of them. Ah, crap. Yeah, that's a bit awkward. That encounter just being there immediately out of the convenience store. That's an encounter spot. You can see him there with the green bandana. This is Yuya inviting me to a club, I'll call it, to see his girlfriend. We're going to pass on that. He's going to call me like 6 times about it. He just keeps calling.
When was GTA 4? Because it seems very similar.
Yeah. The constant phone calls. Here you, let's go bowling. Now I've got my equipment though, so let's go ahead and put on the bell. I'm going to take the opportunity of being in the menu to buy some levels as well. Now is when we're finally getting stability. It's blue level 4 is what gets you stability. So now, as long as my heat bar is filled, I should not get knocked over anymore. Except this game is evil, so I'll still get knocked over plenty, but not when the heat bar is filled. That's better than nothing. This guy is still here from before, and when you're coming at it from this direction, you have to just kind of, yeah, there you go. Later, dude. The chasing AI in this game is very simple and very exploitable. There he is calling again. No, Yuya. I don't care.
He just wants to hang out.
I know, but it's an assassination attempt, so I'm not going to go.
Oh, well, okay. Never mind.
Yeah. Here's White Gang. The most important piece of trivia in the entire Yakuza game is in this fight. I'll see if I can get a good camera angle on it. But two of these guys are wearing an interesting shirt that I feel needs to be pointed out. Damn, that was some sick grouping. This guy's sweatshirt just says fart on the back of it. It's a clothing brand in the Yakuza universe, I guess. You'll see fart sweatshirt guys in this fight. You'll see them as random encounters. Yakuza 2 introduces the red and yellow variant fart sweatshirt. It's a whole thing. Also note that vending machine over there says Umum. Can I show that? Nah, you'll see a million of them later. They didn't mirror the vending machine texture right, so half the vending machines in the game just say Mumu, and the other half say Umum. Haruka is going to ask me for dog food now. This is why I went to Don Quixote earlier. I needed the stamina for a sub-story later, but I also needed the dog food. And the dog food is this one. The other lunchbox icon is sake. Do not attempt to feed the dog sake. That does not work. The dog does not appreciate it. Another stealth section, sort of. We have to head back to the club in the bottom left, Serena. We have to go back to Serena with Haruka, and there's encounters just sort of lurking all over the entire map. As usual, I know where they are. Some of them are very easy to avoid, like there's one back there who just didn't even see me. There's one right there who I can avoid by taking this specific angle. There's going to be one in the intersection to the south. Those guys are all completely free, but the next two guys are going to be a little bit trickier. And of course, they did catch me in practice. We'll see how this goes. Here we go, get seen. So we're trying to get him caught on this fence. Good. And then we swing around like that. Perfect. If you get too close to him, even if he doesn't touch you, he'll still start the fight. So he can start the fight through the fence, which is pretty nasty. And then this guy's standing right in front of the bar, so you gotta kind of take him in like a grand circle of the street. That was perfect. No encounters.
Are there any sections where, like, you're just hoping to RNG that something isn't there, that you'll, like, run into it otherwise? Or can you
there's
avoid
one
everything?
encounter in Chapter 7. It's why we pick up the beads. We don't want him to be there. There's like a 98% chance he won't be there, but he could still show up anyway. And that would be very unfortunate because he's unavoidable. Now it is back to where we literally just came from. Go fight the boss. Get used to seeing this Kamurocho movement, by the way. There's a lot of walking in the run. Not quite as much as later runs. This is actually one of the shorter Yakuzas in the series, being about 2 hours long. Yakuza 5 is 6 hours long, so that's a rough game. This game's movement's a little janky as well, with the whole fixed camera angle thing they have going on. Games like Resident Evil would answer the fixed camera angle problem by just doing, like, tank controls, but this game didn't want to do tank controls, so they have this like weird contextual control system where, like, if you don't touch the analog stick too much, then you'll just continue to move in the same direction even if the camera angle changes. So sometimes I'll just be holding left to go right, and it's just like the sort of thing that you have to do in Yakuza. Really, the more you run this game, the more you realize you just have to memorize every single walking angle in the entire run, because like half of them make no sense at all. And also the system just breaks sometimes, and you'll be trying to move forward and Kiryu will just run backwards for no reason. So that's cool. But here's our boss. This is Hiroshi Hayashi. one of my favorite characters in the whole series. He's just an absolute henchman. He just works for whoever the most evil person is. He's basically a minion. And in this game, he's chosen to work for the Omi Alliance, I think. I don't remember. Anyway, he has this really crappy spin attack that has tons of iframes. I am hoping to not see it that much. I am seeing it quite a bit, though. There are a bunch of alternate strats you can do on him, but ultimately, just spamming combos is like probably the least dangerous way. Least dangerous and not the least consistent either. So just do that and that's fine. Also, that cutscene where Hiroshi Hayashi introduces himself has the absolute best line of the entire Yakuza dub. I won't repeat it on stream, but it's so good. It's like inhuman. I can't even make that noise with my mouth that Hayashi makes in that cutscene. I don't know how the voice actor did it. All right, so we are going to Chapter 5. Well, it is Chapter 5, but we are going to the Coliseum. Pretty much every Yakuza game has a Coliseum section, and this game is no exception to that rule. Avoid the guy in the white jacket because he tries to hand me tissues. We will need tissues later, but not from him. This game's Coliseum section is mostly just an RNG nightmare. Really, every fight is an RNG nightmare. I'm going to be repeating myself quite a bit in this run. And yes, the Coliseum is in this bathroom. Oh, what'd I just do? It's brought up the pause menu somehow. Okay. Hidden within the bathroom is this place. Really, it's in the park, but the bathroom.
Huh.
Moving a very specific way so that the camera doesn't totally flip around on me. Oh, I just realized I screwed something up. Oh well, it's just super minor. I have to take off my equipment before it'll let me into the Coliseum, so really optimally I would have done that on the walk over. I just lost an entire quarter of a second. What a shame. In this 2-hour-long speedrun. But here's our first fight. This is D. Feldman. D. Feldman is really slow, and he has no answer to if we just mash the square button, so that's what I'm gonna do. Wow, he actually just blocked that. That doesn't happen too often. Come on, D. Feldman. I said no answer. Stop blocking. He's blocking everything. D. Feldman decided to be a gamer today, I guess. All right.
I feel like the audience didn't really get their money's worth out of that fight because they just...
Well, they're going to get their money's worth out of these next two. These next two are... That's the easy one. This is G. Plummock. G. Plummock hates being grabbed. He hates being touched in general. And he loves doing really long QTE cutscene attacks. So we'll see what happens here. But my strat is going to be to just repeatedly grab him and do this. And I'm hoping to keep him close to the wall and build heat at the same time. That was very nice of him. Now that I've built heat, if I'm really lucky, I can get the heat action here. Nope. If I can get the heat action, that's like the sign that the fight was good. That's what I'm really hoping for. Come on, there we go. Very nice. Thank you for the regrab. You can kick him when he's standing back up, but it opens you up to that more often. So I'm not trying to do that. Come on, I need one more. I need one more Plummock. Come on. One more Plummock. Thank you. And he's dead. Flash too tired to continue fighting. And finally, the boss of the Coliseum is Gary Buster Holmes. Gary Buster Holmes will mostly let us just spam light combos on him, but wow, that was a close one. He nearly just got me. I didn't even have heat yet, so that would have knocked me right over. But for the most part, just alternating light combos and strong combos on him seems to work pretty well. He'll break it sometimes like that, but for the most part, it's fine. He does have Hayashi's spin attack. He just did it there. Thanks for blocking the entire combo. That was not that bad, though. Sometimes Gary just decides to play some games. Not a fan of it. That's the Coliseum taken care of. We are now heading to probably the most infamous single fight in the entire run, which is Majima 1. We have a few things to take care of before then, but Majima 1 strikes fear into the hearts of speedrunners, or at least me. He strikes fear into the heart of me. We'll see how it goes today. Gary is the best character in the game. That's a good opinion. I agree. He comes back in Yakuza 2 having like gotten these weird spiky glove ball hands, and he just looks like a Mega Man robot master to me. I don't know why. And he comes back in like a dragon. Oop, yeah, kind of bad angle out of the door there. Camera just being weird today, bouncing off the walls. But before I get to Majima, I do have to take care of things, and I have to take care of this. This is optional content. This is Komaki. Komaki will, at different points in the game, offer different weapon trainings. Conveniently, the first and only training he offers right now is the sword training, which we really, really want. So this is what Kiryu normally does with swords. He's not very proficient with them, and you just swing a sword around like this. But after getting this upgrade, we'll be doing a completely different animation that has much more favorable hitboxes, and it also just straight up deals more damage. So this sword upgrade is really nice, and it is just a real stroke of luck that we're allowed to get it now. Otherwise, it'd probably be too out of the way. That piece of wood just completely ate my swing. That was cool. Happens from time to time. That's him. I'll go ahead and put my stuff back on now. You can't do that with equipment on either. I'm gonna buy a bunch of orange level ups. Excuse me. I'm gonna buy a bunch of orange level ups, and I'm gonna go back and forth whether or not this is yellow or orange for the entire run. But we're sort of slowly working towards getting that to level 8, I want to say, which is Heat Force 2. Before then, I just bought a bunch right here because it gets me fast stand-up, which might be helpful during Majima, and it also gets me a bunch of HP, which definitely will be helpful during Majima. I need that. There are plenty of Yakuza runs that you just do with no HP upgrades, but this is not one of them. You will not finish the run without buying some HP upgrades. These are some homeless people. They're not really fighters, so they all go down in 2 punches. Right, and now I can actually go to Majima. There's some other... Oop, went down one too many. There's some other stuff you're supposed to do along the way, but it's skippable. You'll see how. It's a little bit dumb. So this is the HD version, right? This is originally a PS2 game from 2005, and then they made an HD version for PS3 and Wii U. Wii U version sucks, don't play it. But the way they turned a 4x3 game into 16:9 for the HD version was just by chopping off the top and bottom of the screen, which means that I can't see any of the stuff on the ground here, whereas you normally can. They have to sort of do some maneuvering there to get behind the truck so that we could just squeeze past that fixed encounter and get into the batting center without having to fight him. There's all kinds of crap on the ground back there that stops you from moving, though. It's really weird. You just can't see any of it, and on PS2, it's all right there. This is Majima, though. It is now time. I'm gonna bring him to the back corner, Oop, not that corner, this corner. The goal is to get Majima trapped in this corner for the entire fight. Before I do that, I have to deal with the minions. And while I'm dealing with the minions, this fight contains the one difference they made in literally the entire game between the original release of this and its HD re-release. Those baseball bats are not there on PS2. Why they felt the need to add them, I do not know. But those baseball bats are the only change, and we don't use them. I definitely tried routing them in, and it didn't work. So getting Majima into the corner in the first place is just complete RNG. Right now, it seems that he is not interested in cooperating, which is not so good. Come on. Yeah, just look how far he backs up after that attack. I always think I'm going to be able to punish that and get him in the corner, and I never actually am. Nope, goes behind me.
I like that you're just presenting your back to him, and he's like, not sure. Don't want to attack this.
Yeah, he just sort of dashes around a lot. Okay, I finally got him. No, I might not have him. Okay, so whenever Kiryu attacks, he steps forward. I'm trying to back up between combos, and hopefully that means I won't step in front, I won't step behind Majima, and that'll keep him in this corner for the entire fight. He does get an opportunity to attack me, and then he can use that opportunity to escape. But fortunately, once I got him in there, we finally kept him in there. That was really not a great setup, but you know, we finally got him eventually, so I'll take it, I guess. Imagine that fight, except you just put him in the corner like immediately, and then he just stays there. Did they change the color of his knife from red to whatever? Wow, I didn't even notice that. 2 changes then. So chapter 6, this is the beginning of the game's filler arc. Whenever I call it the filler arc, my chat starts complaining at me about how this is totally important to the thematic themes of the game. Very important. It shows Kiryu how to be a good dad, and I don't care. To me, it's the filler arc. We're gonna go take care of a whole bunch of little side stories that don't really have any bearing on anything. That being said, probably the nastiest non-boss fight in the entire run is about to happen in a few minutes. The Itobe family gangsters. Not looking forward to them. Hopefully that goes okay. We are now heading all the way back to the Coliseum, so through the entire park again, down that weird sewage boardwalk. I hope you like this park, by the way. They completely demolish it for the sequel, and the park never comes back. Cool, yeah. Definitely want to pass that pillar on the left, otherwise the camera changes to show you walking by the casino, and it just completely ruins everything. Lots of things like that you're not even necessarily seeing if you're not a runner, but like, as a runner, you just have to know all of the movement stuff like that, so that you don't get screwed over by the camera. This is the only time in the game you see that room. It's a pretty cool room, though. I actually love Yakuza 3, for the record. Let the record show that I love Yakuza 3 and have maybe spent more time routing Yakuza 3 than like any other game in the series. Yakuza 3 is a bottomless pit of despair. In that run, you have to play blackjack to make money to buy guns. And even though you cheat at blackjack to always win, you still have like a 35% chance of getting screwed by the dealer and just losing anyway. And then you have to reset your run like an hour and a half into it. So Yakuza 3 is a really spicy game. This game, fortunately, well, this game also has rigged gambling that you could still lose anyway despite it being rigged. But it's a lot less consequential if you don't win it. Sure, I don't potentially anger the encounter there. No encounter there. Very nice. I'm going to the complete wrong place. What am I doing? Okay, my bad. What am I doing? That is Chapter 8 movement. I'm literally just preoccupied with Chapter 8 because it scares me. But we're going back to the batting center. This whole thing is just a retread of Chapter 5. This time it is not Majima that we find here. It is Takeshi and then B-King. Takeshi is just sort of the D. Feldman of Chapter 6. Just gonna do this. He's way too slow with that baseball bat. Now that I've said it, he'll definitely get a hit in. Nope, we're good. Thank you, Takeshi. Takeshi's a good kid. He just needed a stern talking to there, so that's what we gave him. B-King, on the other hand. B-King's a bit more of a problem, although we're gonna befriend B-King. This is the start of the Yakuza plot trope where you beat someone up and then become best friends. So B-King is going to be my homie after this, but for now, I have to fight him. First, we're going to get rid of the minions. Hopefully they group okay, but usually they don't. This room really seems like it would be better for grouping enemies than it is. There's so much like weird geometry, which is usually what you're looking for. I'm going to take the knuckles off here because I'm not going to use them in either this fight or the next one. And I'm going to do to B-King the same thing that I did to Yuya back in Chapter 2. Going to grab him, throw him a bunch, and slam him against this door. And there's a certain timing we can use to where we just grab him as he's standing back up and he'll never break out of it or try to do anything weird. There he goes, very nice. We used to specifically buy a heat action that lets us like stomp on people's faces here and then just stomp on B-King's face over and over again to grind XP. And it was really great XP, but it turned out that we were spending more XP to buy it than we were making back and using it, and we just didn't even notice that for the longest time. So that's out of the route now, and that's actually going to allow me to buy certain level ups later in the game very slightly earlier. Cut out the grind, but also get more experience at the same time. Works perfectly. Now I'm heading down here. So this, going back into Debola, or Deborah, they can't make up their minds either on what this place is called. But we're going into Deborah. This is the Itobe family gangsters fight. This is a very nasty fight. So these four guys are all going to have knives. The basic enemies are not the problem. The problem is the boss guy. The boss guy has a knife that he can't drop, and he also attacks really, really fast. So that's not what I wanted. I wanted the heat action. Yeah. The good thing to do with the knives here is to do these sort of two swings. We could finish the combo, but it's just better not to. Knock everyone over so that I can get a knife back, please. Okay. If I lose heat in this fight, it's basically game over. If you lose heat in this fight, they just start knocking you over repeatedly forever, and you can never do anything. Yeah, okay. This is fine though. I still have how many knives do I have? At least one. Man, keeps eating my heat action and making me do that stab, which I really don't want to do. Super long animation, almost always misses. Getting very lucky that it's not missing. All right, that was super good actually. That was super good actually. You can see I still have over half health left. This fight can just kill you sometimes. So that's the difference between a good fight and a bad fight. That was pretty good. That's fine though. Nobody died. Those knives, they're like those trick knives where when you stab someone with them, it like the knife like goes back into the hilt, you know? And it's like made of plastic. So even though it looked like we just stabbed everyone to death, we just played a funny practical joke on them. And now we do the long trek all the way back to Serena in the opposite corner of the city. I wonder if they did that on purpose sometimes, honestly. The two probably most visited places in the run are that guy back there, who may or may not be named Kage, and Serena. And the two most important spots in the run are, of course, on opposite corners of the city with no taxis nearby. They really just want you to run back and forth across the entire city like a dozen times in this game. Kind of evil. Not until Yakuza 5 where they start putting taxis in places you would actually want them. Camera, please. Thank you. For reference, like on that angle, down right to go to the taxi, I was actually holding down left. You just got to know these things. There's where you want to go, and then there's what you have to do to get there. Those are two very different angles. Ew. That's that. We took care of Kage being a bad dad. Now we have to take care of our buddy Date, the detective, being a bad dad. And from all of these bad dads, Kiryu will hopefully learn how to be a good dad. Except, well, we all know how the rest of the series goes. A random encounter there. So I'm going to choose to take the taxi here. I think it's like half a second slower to take the taxi here, but it also avoids a bunch of wonky movement. We're just going to do that. There's a bunch of different wonky movement you have to do for the taxi, but I've practiced that, which makes it better, because I said so. There's a sub-story here. This guy is guarding the road. You can fight him or you can pay him. It is, of course, much faster to just pay him, so that's what we do. That'll get him out of the street for the entire rest of the run, which is pretty nice. Pretty much every sub-story in this game boils down to, like, you bumped into a guy. Do you fight him or do you pay him? Like, obviously there's a ton that aren't, but, like, it really sometimes just feels like half the sub-stories in the game are that. It wasn't until, like, many games down the line where they really started to get good at writing sub-stories that are interesting. Man, the door guardian got me. Hate that guy. This bartender is going to ask me what the oldest drink in his bar is. It is the one that has the oldest year on it. It's actually the most expensive drink, not the oldest, but yeah, like take a wild guess. Which one's going to cost the most? It's the 40-year-old one. Not much of a trick question. No encounter there means I can take it a bit easy on the movement. Encounter here? No. Perfect. If you get the encounter going up on this street, then you have to sort of do a weird thing. And we are going to Serena, which means I'm going left, not up. Oh, whoops. That's actually not that big of a deal that guy gave me tissues, because I do need tissues. I was going to get them from somewhere else. But to be honest, that's perfectly fine. That didn't lose me any time. Encounter on the left. You can tell because he said oi. All right, hosts. These guys are hosts. That one on the right has a taser. I would like to not be hit by the taser, if that's okay. Grouping? Yo, grouping? Hey, look at that. Nice. No grouping with the green guy, though. This room, we do a couple of different fights in this area. They're all really just unfortunate. Look how wide the street is. How am I supposed to group enemies up when there's just like this wide, featureless room that we're doing the fight in? These fights are always a little bit disgusting. If I get any grouping at all, then I'll pretty much be happy with that. That wasn't bad. Yeah, what's the oldest drink in my bar? A 1980s Crystal Pepsi. It's been sitting behind the counter for 40 years, decaying. I'd like to order that, please. This is just a super minor point, but there's a phone for saving the game up there, and we're trying to dodge all phones and all item boxes during the entire run, because if you get too close to one, it'll spawn some text boxes, and that'll waste me a couple of seconds. Go ahead and equip this knife. This knife was given to us by the patriarch of the Itobe family for helping him out with his rad dad problems. And we're going to use that right away to go stab some kid. And that will resolve Date's rad dad problems. Encounter there, so I'm going to head down here. You could just go straight there, but whatever. A bit easier to dodge the encounter just doing this. That guy looks pretty suspicious, but he's not. He's just chilling. Spray painting guy in the corner. This is the final fight of the chapter, which I guess makes this the boss fight. This guy's name is Shota. Shota is going to get stabbed a whole lot, hopefully. In fact, we equipped the knife ahead of time so that I could just mash triangle and do that to him immediately. And we're hoping to just use up the entire knife here. Sometimes I have a little bit extra, sometimes I don't have any extra, and I have to finish Shota off with punches. It's never good. This is looking like it's going to be perfect, though. Oh, not quite. Same deal as the Itobe family, though. That sort of like 2-attack swing, the unfinished combo, is really good for keeping all the other enemies in check. And also because there's an enemy standing next to Shota usually, it helps us build more heat faster. So we can just constantly do heat actions. That was chapter 6. We got like another half a chapter of running around solving other people's problems. And then I finally get to return to the story that we're all enjoying quite a bit, because we can definitely read all of this. And maybe some of you can. I can't. Oh, here's where we equip. Hopefully this is okay. Here's where we equip the beads. So I mentioned this earlier, but we're going to a tattoo parlor now, right? And there's a potential encounter spawn directly on top of the tattoo parlor that's completely unavoidable if he's there. We have to take the fight. So I equipped the beads of good fortune to hopefully despawn him. Hopefully it despawned him. Yesterday in practice, for the first time ever, it didn't despawn him. I was very confused and sad. It was the start of a long downward spiral for that practice run. But hopefully he won't be here today. Come on. Please. Alright, we're in there. Good. You can see how an encounter spawning in this alleyway might be problematic. Good thing he's not there, and now we walk all the way back. I'm going to leave the beads on for a little while just because there's no reason to go into the menu to take them off yet. So really, for all of the walking that we're about to do in the first half of Chapter 7, there's just going to be no encounters, hopefully. Still keeping an eye out. Just in case. Nah, see, you would think it works like Yakuza 5 like that, but you saw when I equipped the beads, right? It was just like I didn't reload the map or anything. It was just, I was in the middle of this street when I equipped them, and that's actually the exact same spot where I equipped them yesterday. And he showed up yesterday, and he didn't today. So, I don't know. It's a bit of a mystery how these beads work. Oop, wrong way. Starts you back in Serena still. So now Haruka has been kidnapped. For those keeping track at home, in Chapter 6, she ran away on her own. Then so in chapter 5, she gets kidnapped. Then in chapter 6, she runs away on her own. Then in chapter 7, she gets kidnapped. And then in chapter 8, she's going to get kidnapped for a 3rd time. So Haruka's doing a really great job this game. Big Haruka fan. I'm going to swing super wide because I don't want to pick up 2 tissues. That is normally the guy that we would get the tissues from. I had to sort of improv the movement there. It's a little bit nasty. Also don't want to hit Pink Dress Lady, who is still there 6 chapters later. Have to listen to the gossip there. We're going to hand in the tissues now. About halfway through this chapter, the game is going to ask us for 100,000 yen. And right now, I don't have anywhere close to 100,000 yen. So this is where the majority of my money's coming from. First, we have to bait out the Guardian here. Okay. That's going to allow us entry into the park. And now this guy really wants some tissues. Hand in the tissues. And this guy is so rich that he gives me 90,000 yen for giving him something to use as toilet paper. And then we have to go on a grand tour of the park here to avoid the park guardian. But there we go. That was kind of clean. That's where most of our money for the 100K comes from. The rest came from a drunk guy in chapter 6 who I did not do. Hopefully he's still there. That could be a potential issue. This route stuff is like super new to me, so... Well, I forgot an important step. Talk to this guy. Wait, what? What did I forget to do? There. What the heck? I don't know what was happening there. Why did he have 3 dialogue options? That was very weird. I think I might have been talking to Date or something. What was that? Anyway. No Pink Dress Lady. We're good. I'm going to take a bit of a detour here to go do Sake Guy. I was supposed to do him in chapter 6, but I was so busy rambling about who knows what at the time that I missed a sub-story that we have to do. Nah, there's no way I gave him the sake. You see, he's right there. There's not a chance. Here he is, hand in the sake. Wait, yeah, hand in the sake twice. Wait, what? Do I just have the money? Man, I don't know. I've totally like screwed up the route. He's not going for it. Where's my sake? What? Oh, did I give the sake to the guy in the park? I completely forgot that was a thing. All right, I'm gonna have to go do Pink Dress Lady for money. Man, I'm completely screwing up the route. Sorry. Anyway, okay. Here's a fight. I'm gonna bring these guys to the top of the stairs. Hopefully everyone follows me. And then we can just gut punch down the stairs to hit most of them. Did I put... No, I have to put the bell back on. You just straight up like lose 30 seconds on this fight if you don't have the bell equipped. It's that big of a difference. So Pink Dress Lady's gonna be in the run then. We will be saying hello to her after all. My old friend. Oh, floppy.
I mean, it's at least nice that there's like backups and stuff.
Yeah, the backups in this game are very sketchy, though. Yakuza 1 is sort of known for its missable side content. Sub-stories are constantly going in and out of existence at different points in the game. And honestly, I'm just kind of praying that Pink Dress Lady is there at all. She was there earlier in the chapter, but it's not a given that she's still there. I'm not quite sure because you don't normally walk by her at this point of the run, so it's probably been... I don't know how many years since I would have known this last. This is a pretty bad fumbling of the route.
It's okay. I think it's sometimes good that, like, to show backups like this, like, you know, not every run can go perfect every time. And
yeah.
the adaptation is what, like, really shows the difference.
Yeah, Yakuza 1 is sort of all about adaptation, although that's mostly supposed to be the combat, not the sub-story route.
Well, you know.
Just making it interesting. Wow, cool interruption. Here's another fight that just takes place in wide open streets, and there's just like no grouping you can even do. Super delay that to make sure he's actually here. This sub-story gives me a tiny bit of money, but it's not enough. This one we do because it unlocks a completely different, unrelated sub-story that I'm going to go to in a minute. But first, is Pink Dress Lady there? You might not be here because I have Haruka with me. Perfect, she's still here. All right, Pink Dress Lady, give me your money. This is meant to be them shaking down me, but nope. Reversal of shakedown, you're going to give me your money. So way back in the day, we used to fight this in Chapter 2 because the additional experience from doing this fight would let me buy the full kick combo before Yuya. And then the money would just be used towards the 100k. But nowadays, we don't do this, don't have the kick combo for Yuya, and then instead get our money from the sake guy who I just totally forgot to talk to. And then I gave all of his sake to someone else. Whoops, sorry, sake guy. There, finally got my money. So that means I've got 100k. Before I go into the casino, I have to make one last detour. This one is actually in the route. We have to talk to this guy in the purple sweatshirt. Gonna tell him to bet on horse 3-7, and that guy is gonna come back in chapter 11 with 200,000 yen for me. That's how we're gonna hit our 300k milestone in that chapter. Now we're heading into the secret underground casino behind this fake wall. This is a bit of a weird part of the game. So I mentioned it earlier, we're gonna start gambling. You have to gamble as part of the plot. We're gonna do 5 bets that are guaranteed wins, and then the 6th bet is a guaranteed loss. So we're going to win the bet no matter what. The trick is the amount that we win depends on how much the other AI players bet on the wrong option. So we want to see basically the bottom option be higher than the top option here. And it's looking like we got lucky, not super lucky. That's pretty good though, 64. So we're probably set now. The magic number to hit here is 8830. You hit 8830, then you lose 10 on the last bet, and then you have 8820, which just so happens to be 980 times 9. And 980 is how many chips the Cursed Mugetsu costs. And we're going to be using 9 of those to basically cheese every boss for the rest of the game. So hopefully I hit that. This is what a bad RNG roll looks like. You see these way more often than the good ones, I feel like. This is a very exciting part of the run to cheat at dice. Watch this over and over. It actually used to be, so we were a little bit dumb in the Yakuza community for a long time, and we used to think that if you didn't get 8830 chips, you were just doomed, and you just were going to be one sword short in the route, and you had to make that up somewhere. It really wasn't until surprisingly recently that we realized you can just buy extra chips in a menu, and so that's what I'll do if I'm short. It'll be like 1 second of time loss, and we used to make like such a big deal out of it. It's just super funny, and it was like, wait a minute. This will probably get us to 8830 though on this one. Kind of terrible RNG. Actually, maybe it won't. But if this one won't, then the next one will. Yeah, only 8210. Fortunately, we've got this one last bet. If you get really good luck, you can actually get to 8830 on that bet. And then you can just bet minimum on this instead of having to input the menuing, and it saves like a quarter of a second. Didn't happen today, though. If anyone was curious, and I'm sure you're all thinking this right now, the most amount of chips anyone has ever gotten is 17.4K, and the least amount is 5.9. Those are both disgusting numbers.
Oh,
I think
wow.
personally I've seen like a 6 and a 14, but never anything close to 17. That is insane.
That's some wild variation. And this is required?
Yeah.
Like in the story, this is required?
Yeah, as part of the story. So this is like dad bonding moment with Haruka, where you take her to an underground gambling den, and then she exposes that the dice is rigged or something, but she has like weird mystical powers and can just guess the dice right every time. They never explain how she knows. She just knows. But now that we've exposed that they're cheating because we didn't win for a 6th time in a row, so we must be getting cheated somehow, of course. Now it is time to beat up all of the gamblers and the dealer. I don't know why the gamblers are fighting me too. I think these actually aren't the gamblers, the guys who work here. They like come out of a back room in a cutscene or something. Anyway, I'm gonna deal with all the minions first. The dealer guy can be a bit of a jerk. By a bit of a jerk, I mean a massive jerk. Wow, that actually hit him. So it's just me and him now. I'm gonna try something a bit different than what I usually do. I'd like to typically put him in a corner, but we're gonna try this hallway. This hallway is not very wide, so I think that this is gonna be perfect. Man, cool. Thanks for the knockdowns. This hallway is gonna be perfect for him not being able to dodge my gut punches easily, although he's still totally dodging it. Just awesome of him.
Just slipping.
Yeah, he just kind of slides around in place and dodges everything, and then you've already input your combo, and then you're just stuck completely whiffing. It's the Yakuza 1 classic experience. This is, when people complain about Yakuza 1, this is what they're talking about. Basically, almost every enemy in the game will do this to you if you don't have the strats. Anyway, so that's that. They kick me out of their casino. They're going to give me back my 100,000 yen in a sec, but before we do that, or before they do that, yeah, I do have the knuckles equipped. I have to go and buy some of those cursed Mugetsus, so let's do that. And for those not in the know, the cursed Mugetsu is a sword, so this is why we bought the sword stance. Or rather, why we had Komaki teach us it earlier in the game. It's for these swords. Yeah, I mean, even with the strats, you saw that. They'll do it to you, although that was a complete failure of tech, and so it just kind of... you don't want to do that fight in the middle of the room like I was. I was really hoping to use that hallway, and it just kind of didn't work out. I think I'm going to go back to using the corner in future runs. Now we're just making our way back to the park, and then after that we'll go to Serena, and then we get to fight a boss, and then the pace of the game's really gonna pick up. Chapter 6 and 7 are like, I think it's the 2 longest chapters in the game, and also they're just kind of the least eventful. But now that we're out of there, chapters, really everything up through 11 is gonna be rapid fire nonsense, so prepare yourselves. It's time to go fight Shindo. Shoutouts to X-Play was taken of Yakuza 5 fame for no reason in particular. I know he's a Shindo fan. Oop, encounter.
Just love everybody hanging out on the street, and there's one dude in a suit just charging after you.
Yeah, it's, even if you don't necessarily know the spawns, it's like, all right, we have a bunch of people just standing around doing nothing in particular, and then there's this one suited guy, like, looking around, all suspicious, doing a weird animation. I wonder who the encounter could be. before Shindo, we have to do the bar fight. Bar fight will hopefully go okay. All of them are going to have wooden swords, and they very quickly are going to realize that actually attacking with the wooden swords is a losing strategy, and they're just going to start yeeting them at me to try to interrupt my combo. The enemy AI in this fight is actually sentient, I swear. Hopefully I can deal with them before it gets too nasty. Bad. Hoping to group those guys. Couldn't quite get it. You'd really think that this room is better for grouping than it is as well, just considering that it's like so small. But no, it's really not that great. Wow, I was hoping that would target the other guy. Oh well. So, it is time for Shindo. So hopefully I'll show off the tech and the tech will work. But it is Cursed Mugetsu time. So we bought those swords like 2 minutes ago. Here's why. We equip the sword. The Cursed Mugetsu has a special property that causes stun. So whenever I hit a boss with this, they'll get stunned and they'll fall over. Can I please actually hit a boss? Can I please actually hit a boss? Shindo. Shindo, thank you. This is why we bought it. We can now just keep Shindo stunned on the ground for the entire fight. I screwed that up. Okay, good. Okay, a little bit disgusting, but there we go. You get the idea. So that's what we're going to be doing on all the bosses. That's not quite as simple as it looks, especially in that fight. The complicating factor there is that Kiryu doesn't lock on to Shindo when he's on the ground. So you're looking to hit Shindo, but Kiryu is looking to hit literally anyone but Shindo. And it's a bit of a struggle. The power struggle between person holding controller and actual game. The constant one. But that was Shindo. We're now heading to go fight White Gang. White Gang is basically Shindo on steroids. It's even worse. Because now if we get knocked down, there's so much crap littering the floor that we'll probably never be able to pick our sword back up. So hopefully I won't get knocked down.
This is the guys with the fart hoodies, right? Or is that a different thing?
Haruka's been kidnapped for the 4th time. You're supposed to go around. First, you have to find out where the gangs are. Then you have to talk to each gang and fight each gang. And then finally, you fight the red gang and they tell you where Haruka is. Blue gang, as it turns out, is completely optional. We can just completely ignore blue gang. They don't know anything. We go to white gang tells us where red gang is, and then red gang tells us where Haruka is. That skips a bit of a fight that I think most casual players would end up doing. I think blue gang might tell you where white gang is or something, but we already know where they are, so whatever. White gang is, if you look at the mini-map, they're that weird side room. Here they are. They're called White Gang because they all wear white. Their actual name is like White Edge or something. That's probably not it. The boss's name is Yuji Shiraki. There he is by the sofa. Yuji Shiraki is the only one who actually needs to die. Everyone else I am hoping to just ignore. Knocked down but didn't lose my sword. The easiest way to hit Shiraki is to just do that. Although I did that swing slightly early, so that's not good. That is not good. Okay. Doing these swings slightly early, it keeps flattening him out. When the enemy flattens out like that, you can't hit them anymore, and you basically just have to sit there and wait. And then once they stand back up, that's also an opening for them to escape, do some nonsense, whatever. So that was actually not that bad, all things considered. As long as I don't lose the sword, that fight, in my mind, is a victory. It's not super clear, but there's like hubcaps, there's broken bottles, there's pipes, there's all sorts of trash littering the floor, and plus you're being swarmed by enemies and Kiryu wants to grab the enemies instead of the stuff on the floor. You're just never getting your sword back if you drop it in that fight. It's like an instant 1 minute time loss. I honestly just usually write the sword off as a complete loss and move on to the next one. So you've got a tiny bit of extra to work with in the route. Encounter, you'll see what I mean. To do weird things to avoid that encounter. That was actually very clean. You sort of bump up against his back usually. So, yeah, we're going down here. Chapter 8 movement. We're going down. Before we fight Red Gang, we have to fight, like, Red Gang detachment unit. I don't know exactly how to describe them. There's the boss Red Gang, then there's a couple dinguses standing around upstairs. We have to go fight the guys upstairs first. They're not much of a concern. The guys downstairs, however, prepare yourselves for things to get a little weird on those guys. Little Akai isn't going to know what hit him. Oop, put the sword away, back for the knuckles. I'm a little bit short on sword, so I'm trying to save as much of that as I can. I'm almost certainly going to have like 5 extra sword at the end of chapter 10, just because that's how it's going to work out. But I don't want to risk it, so I'm not going to do this fight with sword. If I have like perfect bosses, then sometimes I'll sword these guys a teeny bit faster. Couple text boxes, they alert the boys downstairs. All right, so hopefully this will work. This strat sort of depends on whether or not the bosses want to cooperate. They'll do it eventually. The only question is how long is it going to take before they finally do it? So here's Red Gang proper. This is 2 bosses. It's Big Akai and Little Akai. And they did the whole meme thing where Big Akai is the smaller guy and then Little is the big one. It's like, good one. But first we have to deal with all the minions. Don't want any minions interrupting me while I completely ruin Big Akai's day. So look at their giant HP bars, right? These guys have multiple HP bars. They're going to be a big problem, you would think. But if I stand in this corner, and now we have the big one grab me. Big one, please grab me. Nope, they chose to do this one. They'll almost always do that first. I don't know why. Big one, please grab me. Thank you. So watch this. They do this attack. Pay attention to the health bars. Goodbye.
Huh?
So what just happened there is, coming out of that attack, the game wants to place the smaller of the 2 Akais behind you. Because, you know, in the cutscene, he did that flying knee thing, right? But because I got grabbed in that corner, behind me just so happens to be out of bounds. So the camera there wasn't set up right, but if you have the camera set right, then sometimes you can actually see him just fall into the void through the wall. And I guess the game's safety mechanism is to just delete him. So we just deleted Big Akai from existence. I'm sorry.
That's
not murdered, though. He's not dead. Kiryu has never killed anyone. He's just been banished to the Shadow Realm. That's a completely different thing. Shoutouts to Xana, who found that by accident. It was a very confusing stream. That's the gangs, though. We now know that Haruka has been taken out of the city, and to Yokohama is where Yakuza Like a Dragon takes place. Fun fact. Getting a bit of a sneak preview for the city that we're going to go to like 15 years from now in this series. So let's go do that. Unfortunately, you don't really get a good shot of the outside of the city, and they didn't like model a city or anything. It's just the inside of a Chinese restaurant, but that's fine. This is cool too. So here's the restaurant. Now is when I'm finally going to buy Heat Force 2. I've been saving up XP for it for pretty much the entire game, and that's going to help me do even more damage when my heat bar is filled. That's very helpful. I don't think that was a good place to use that, but it had to get used somewhere. Might as well be him. So the grouping in the outdoor of this restaurant section is going to be insane. You'll see in a sec. But these stairs are like awesome. Oh, that was crap. Why'd they spawn already? You'll see that they all just run up the stairs at me. Look at how many dudes you hit at once with the gut punch. It's actually insane. You just shred all of their HP bars immediately. So that's like 10 guys. And here's the next wave. Can I get them on the stairs too? This is where the gut punch being so wide comes into play as well. You can see I'm just like hitting people who are behind me. Like not even, just objectively not even close to being hit actually. But the hitbox for the gut punch is so disjointed that it just doesn't matter. We spammed the gut punch in 2 for years before really coming around to realizing that it was also just as good in 1. Oop. Actually, that kind of worked out. Stopped that guy from getting knocked down with a kick. I wasn't paying too close attention to the minimap. Hopefully there's nobody else downstairs. Every once in a while, someone will get like caught on a chair or something and they'll just stay down there. And then, yeah, perfect. I'll beat up this guy and it won't end the fight. And they'll be like, where's the last guy? And he'll just be like hiding in a corner somewhere. But now we're going back into the kitchen. I'm going to take the knuckles off for this. I did this in practice yesterday and I think it was pretty good. I liked it a lot more than gut punching. We're going to slam these people's faces into some burners, and that's fine because Kiryu's never killed anyone, so they're just going to suffer a mild headache from this.
The burners aren't on, right?
Oh no, they're totally on.
Well.
I mean, look at that. There's just fire in the kitchen.
It's cool fire.
It's
special.
you know those like Halloween props where it's like the paper fire with the fan under it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's happening in this kitchen. It's fine. They don't actually cook food here. It's all frozen. Just microwave it. It's a great restaurant. Wow, that was super lucky of me. I would have totally gotten knocked down there if I didn't build heat on like the same frame I got hit. This is not who I wanted to be doing the heat action to, but that's fine. I'm still grouping them just because I hopefully want to build heat faster by hitting multiple at a time. I've lost like all my heat at this point. I think I should probably, yeah, now I'm just going to switch to the knuckles and finish them off. I'm not going to get that heat back at this point. Getting the last couple hits on the head chef can be really annoying. I'm not happy about losing that heat. Come on. Yeah, this is a bit of an unfortunate ending, but there we go. He'll go down no problem. That's that. Put the sword on, because now we are going to go and fight Lao. Lao, the boss of the Chinese restaurant. They don't do anything else here. It's just a normal restaurant. Lao works a bit differently than everyone else. All the other bosses in the game you want to hit with 3 swings, but Lao will actually flatten out if you hit him with 3. I don't know why. So we are hitting him with 2, and you kind of have to space out your swings as well so that he doesn't like count the first swing as a third for some reason. It's a good first phase. Lao, where are you? Not ideal. Not ideal. Really hoping to just hit him with that first combo. There we go. Nah, I buffered the third. My bad. This game has a really nasty input buffer issue. If you press a button ever, it'll buffer that attack. It doesn't care if it has to wait like 3 seconds for the punch to come out. It will buffer that punch. So it leads to a lot of full combos that you don't want to do. Anyway, so it is now time for the meme. I don't quite know how to introduce this section, so I'll just come right out and say it. We're about to play Time Crisis. The game is done being a beat 'em up for now. It is time for Time Crisis. So I now have a gun. It's fine. The gun shoots rubber bullets. People are going to drive at us, and we have all sorts of strats to attempt to manipulate them into convenient positions, and none of it is going to work because it's all placebo. Good car. So the things to mention about this, your shooting controls are really, really bad. This cursor is just like, it doesn't go faster than this. Date is constantly swerving, and that screws up your aim. The opponent cars are constantly swerving. That constantly screws up your aim. You cannot damage a car unless the green circle is visible. Even if your shot would hit it, if the green circle is not there, it just doesn't count. In a second here, we're going to start to get, I think this next wave is 2 cars. I'm looking forward in the vain hope that it'll make them come up to the front faster. So now that we have 2 cars, we actually need to kill the car in the back first. And the reason for that is because if we kill the car in the front first, then as it dies, it'll push back the car that's behind it and push that one out of range. And you can potentially, it's not so bad of an issue on these 2 cars, but the next wave is 3 motorcycle guys. And if you kill the front motorcycle guy first, you pretty much just lose a minute. Almost always. It's really, really bad if you kill this front motorcycle guy first. Shooting him there was probably a very bad idea. I did do it anyway, but it was probably a very bad idea. I have to make sure I don't touch him again. Everyone's shooting me. Yeah, the motorcycle like got in front of me. This is really weird. All right, bit of a strange wave. You really don't often see the motorcycles getting in front of you like that. Waiting on the next wave, which is a flatbed truck with 2 guys standing on the back of it. There it is. These guys have really, really tiny hitboxes. You have to go full esports mode to hit them. And even if you hit every shot, it still requires 11 bullets. That was good though. The truck barely went out of range. Sometimes that truck, while you're doing that reload after the 10 shots, will just like completely vanish and you're just stuck there waiting for the truck. This is the final and most infamous of the waves before the boss. This is the van. So the van cannot be killed until it is in the left lane alongside of us, which means Date needs to be in the right lane, and that worked out really fast. Yesterday, I lost literally a minute waiting for this van to get in position. It was incredibly stupid. So shoutouts to the van for cooperating today. That was actually very, very clean, which means that probably now the boss will be a disaster just so that it all evens out in the end. So now we have the boss. Oh shoot, there's still 1 shot left on it. Never mind,
Oh, no.
I spoke too soon. Must have shot like a frame early, man. So now we have the boss. And the boss is man in red suit standing on top of a big truck in just driving the wrong way through traffic, which I don't even think I've ever parsed before. But yeah, he's just straight up driving the wrong way through traffic with this truck. It's fine. Only the guy in the red suit has to die. His truck is going to be constantly waving all over the place though, which makes it a little bit hard to not just hit whoever, and also all of their hitboxes are overlapping. Also, the 2 optional guys will be shooting at you, so it's kind of just like you lose time for getting shot. Sometimes it's just like whatever, I'm just going to shoot the minions. Man, terrible aim. Terrible aim. Okay, cancel that. The main boss guy has a machine gun, and if he shoots you, it's like 5 seconds where you're in hit stun. It's really nasty. Definitely want to cancel his shots or just reload through them because you can't be hit while reloading. 1 more shot. Can you please stay? Nope. Wow, look at me just choke the last shot like 6 times in a row. There we go. Man, do not sign me to your CSGO esports team. That was that though. The meme is dead. I don't have to do any more. And honestly, that could have been so much worse. Bit of a dirty boss, but I'm willing to bet you that still saved time on PB. Here's a note. A reminder as I shoot that guy 20 times until he falls off the back of a truck going 100 miles an hour on a highway that Kazuma Kiryu has never killed anyone. Rubber bullets, film set highway. He fell onto like a mattress that was there, so it's fine. Here's a really nasty fixed encounter. We have to despawn him by going into this little alley and you sort of sneak around the back like that. Typing in the middle of my speedrun, it's very important. Oh, never mind. Type with one hand, control Kazuma Kiryu with the other. Yakuza games will give you bad habits like that, like straight up. I've run very little that wasn't Yakuza over the last like 4 years. These games have consumed my life. It's a problem. But one of the other games I run is Super Mario Sunshine, and unironically, like going back and forth between Sunshine and Yakuza is just like, when am I gonna check Discord? Yeah. I have to play the game.
You're going from, this at least the fights are pretty high intensity, but SMS is just high intensity all the time.
Yeah. I have diverse interests. I play this, I play Sunshine, I play Razor Freestyle Scooter, best extreme sports game.
Heck yeah.
So that was just a refill on swords. We'll pop in there again before the finale. Get 3 more swords so we can continue cheesing the bosses. Shoutouts to, gosh, what is this? It was a Japanese runner who realized how cheesable the magic swords were back in the day. Mame Taro, that's his name now. Mame Taro, shoutouts to him for the magic sword strat. We're going into another set piece. Really, the main enemy of this set piece isn't so much the minions as much as it is the camera. We're about to go into a giant maze, and just like, this doesn't look so bad, right? Like, look at this. Look at how wide open this room is. I promise you. Come on, camera. Okay, that was actually super clean. That was sick. The camera through this entire set piece is just such a pain in the ass, especially once you get to the rooftops, but that room is usually a problem too. We can just go straight up to the top from here. These guys are optional, but I'm gonna gut punch them so that they don't follow me into the next room. Sometimes it can be hard to tell who's who if they follow you into this room and you end up fighting a bunch of optional enemies. But you can tell which enemies are required because they're holding guns. Oop. Guns in this game are very weak, so we don't use them. You could see how little damage he just did to me with those gunshots. I got shot twice, and that's what it did. Don't even fall over for it. Take like 1 pixel of damage. The Yakuza devs are constantly rebalancing guns with every Yakuza game, and sometimes guns are like insanely OP and you spam them for the entire run, and sometimes guns are literally worthless, and if you pick it up, you just throw it somewhere because it's not even worth shooting. In this game, it is the latter. Well, in this game, it's actually not that bad, but they're still not really worth using. You'd have to take off the knuckles for that. That's just a lot of wasteful menuing. Camera's probably gonna flip backwards. Yep. Thank you. Thank you for that. Oh, and then flip backwards again. Perfect. Turning because of that pole. It'll probably be sideways here. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, it was sideways here, but that is not the direction it's usually facing at all. That surprised me. Weird angles here, backwards here. Getting this movement to where you're like good at it, it doesn't save that much time. It saves probably like 10 seconds to be good at that movement, but like, God, it's such a nightmare just controlling Kiryu in this game. I don't know what they were thinking. So here's RSA. RSA is the man. RSA is such a badass that they're going to be reusing his moveset for the next like 6 Yakuza games. Hopefully we'll keep RSA pinned. This is actually looking really good so far. Damn, that was perfect. I have not seen an RSA that good in a very long time. He actually cooperated. Beautiful.
I looked away and blinked and the guy was gone. So
yeah, that's how all of the bosses should look if done correctly and if you get super lucky. Anyway, now it's chapter 11. So at this point in the game, we have to get 300,000 yen so that we can get a membership card to go to a special club called Shangri-La. There's actually a super hype glitch you can do to clip into Shangri-La and skip all of this crap. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work. You can almost do it. You can clip into Shangri-La, but once you get in there, the game realizes what you're doing and kicks you out. So close to being able to skip basically the entirety of chapter 11. I'll show the out of bounds because it's faster to set it up. It's hard to explain, you'll see, but it's a real shame. This game almost got real broken for a sec a while ago. Yakuza games in general are mostly intact. We found weird bugs in pretty much all of them, but never anything like sequence breaking. It's always just been like minor stuff. We're actually heading to the out of bounds now, so I'll try to explain it. But in this game, a cutscene cannot be fading in from black and fading out to black at the same time. At least that's my theory for why this works. So we're about to do a cutscene that's really short, that has a fade in and a fade out, which means that if we can mash the text in this cutscene fast enough, we'll actually be able to cancel the cutscene, which causes Kiryu to stand up in place, which is out of bounds, and now we can just walk through this wall. That skips the back half of that cutscene and saves like 3 seconds. From there, you can chain that into being able to walk out of bounds anywhere in Kamurocho, and that's how you'd get into Shangri-La. Because it turns out that all interiors in this game exist in the middle of Millennium Tower in the center of the city. So it's like, technically when you're out of bounds, you're in the center of the city and you can just like do weird stuff to manipulate your height. And it's just like, you can tell from how much I'm talking about this, how much I really wish it was in the run, but it's just not. So that's all we get. You get to cut that little corner there. It's a real shame. You actually have to mash really fast for that. I failed it in practice yesterday because I failed everything in practice yesterday. But there's the horse betting guy from chapter 7. Turns out that the horse we told him to bet on miraculously won, and he bet his life savings on it, so he just gave me 200,000 yen. And now I'm rich. Am I going to use a sword for this? Yes, I am. So here is the remnants of the Snake Flower Triad, which is Lao's gang. Here they are. This guy thinks he's cool, but he's powerless against the magic sword. Come on, bro. Man, never mind. I'm actually getting owned. I'm like talking trash about the boss. Meanwhile, he's got me in a stun lock. Come on. Come on, minions, please. Yeah, this is bad. This just happens sometimes. Please build heat. Thank you. And from here, I'm just going to use Knuckles on the remainder of the guys. Wow, that knocked me over. That was so close. Really? Yeah, there's no grouping that's gonna happen here. Can we? Nope, he went right past me. There's still like 2 of them. Man, this is really messy. Okay. Thank God this is a kung fu guy, so he like didn't get knocked down by that. Otherwise, I'd have wasted even more time. Man, the goons put in much better work than the actual boss did. The boss was like, I don't know what he was doing, but the minions knocked me over like 10 times there. It was real nasty. Anyway, I think we just like rescued this girl who had been kidnapped or something. There's a lot of kidnapping in this game. And so now she gives me the card. Or wait, no. So she doesn't give me the card. She is a forger who will promise to do a forged document for the girl in the first club we went to so that she will give me the card. But then she doesn't have the card because she gave it to someone else. And then that guy charges me 300,000 yen for it. This whole thing is just an elaborate series of fetch quests to get this stupid card. Go back to the first club. There's that. She doesn't have it. And of course, the guy who does have it is literally at the club where we just were, or he's like in the building next door. So now we walk all the way back up again. And this guy's not even on the mini map anywhere. I don't know how you're supposed to know that he's there. I think she tells you that he's there, and they just forgot to put a little marker. This encounter terrifies me every time. He's not that risky, but the encounter in that area is just like sketchy as hell. Fortunately, no corner encounter here, which is probably good. Otherwise, he would catch me because I'm bad at avoiding him. Here's the boy. 300,000 yen for the card. Good thing I actually have 300,000 yen. Gonna swing like super wide just in case he spawned in all of a sudden. Nope, we're good. Okay. This is movement that I used to not do, but I was finally convinced to do this movement when I realized it was faster. That's all it took. Encounter on the right. I will not be... You're kidding me. That's so far away. How did he still get me? Man, okay, so never mind about the encounterless run. How did he still get me? Man, that sucks. And look at this enemy pattern too. There's so many big guys. That's a shame. I'm gonna go to my go-to excuse. Like I said, I haven't done this movement that many times. I'm not super used to dodging this guy, but like, man, this guy got me in practice the other day too, and I thought it was just because I was bad. Turns out you have to swing way wider than it looks like there. All right, well, write it down for future runs. Get out of here. Okay. Hopefully he won't give me a weapon, otherwise I have to waste even more time menuing to get rid of it. Show me yen. Show me a yen drop. Good, it's yen. Well, that's unfortunate. Anyway, what are we doing? We are going back to the park. Again? Oh my god. This same, literally, it's this street. It's this street, man. This same thing happened to me in practice the other day. I got both of these encounters, and I was like, wow, at least that'll never happen again. And then it happened again. That sucks so much. I'm just bad at the game. That's fully on me. Please, I'll look away from the screen for the next minute. Anyway, right into another encounter. Trust me, guys, I'm good at the game. Serious speed run. That sucks. That's just like... Man, now I'm going to be minorly salty for the rest of the run, but that's fine. That will be the last encounter, actually, because now there's no more that are weird. Now I actually have practiced all the other encounters 1 billion times over, and we should be good. Yeah, honestly, that's probably my punishment for having such a sick RSA. That's what we'll say it is. Good RSA, good rail shooter encounters. Now we can finally go to the club. Ugh. Why am I going? What am I doing? Man, okay, I need to get a grip. This always happens when I make a mistake in a run. I just start being like, all right, well, this run's bad. And so then I just like make a billion other mistakes. I'm just like not focusing as hard anymore. Anyway, here we are, finally. The club that we could have clipped into like 10 minutes ago and avoided all of this nonsense. Had the game just been programmed ever so slightly worse. I have to head up the stairs. This is the reason why it doesn't work, by the way. You can go up these stairs and you cause this cutscene that's about to happen, but then after the cutscene, it boots you back out, but you're still out of bounds, so then you can clip back in a second time, but then once you've clipped in here the second time, the stairs are broken for some reason, so you can't get back up here, so you can't interact with this door, so you can't continue the game. It's really disappointing. Anyway, set piece. We can skip literally everyone in this entire set piece, and I'm going to. We'll be back here in Yakuza 2 for like the most nightmarish set piece in the entire series. But in this one, it's super easy. You just do this.
They were all trying to... They were trying to hang out. You just run by them.
They were just being friends.
Yeah.
With guns.
Well... Okay, maybe not friends.
Before I start the next fight, we're gonna equip this sword. Come on, Kiryu. You see what I mean? I was literally holding right on the analog stick there, and Kiryu is just going dead ahead. It's like, what are the controls in this game? But this is Majima 2. We're going to start Majima 2 by doing my dumb strat that doesn't work. I'm going to throw the sword at him, which is a guaranteed knockdown. The problem is that the timing window for hitting him when he's standing back up is extremely small, and of course I missed it. So I'm trying to knock him down somehow. But he can cancel out of all of his combos, so nothing is punishable. There we go. This is a really sketchy corner to be doing this in. I don't like it. Okay, good. That hit. Everyone pay close attention. This is the only QTE in the entire game. Future Yakuza games will put QTEs in every boss. 2 QTEs, 3 QTEs. Endless QuickTime events. This game only has that one, literally just the one, and everyone will miss it because you just don't think this game has those, and it does. Here we go. You can get the throw on Majima 2 in his second phase. I think you have to wait a second. I think I threw slightly too early for it to work. That's fine. Even without getting the throw strat on either phase, that was still not that bad. If that is legitimately the one QTE in the whole game, whenever you do heat actions, well, when you do some heat actions, there will be a follow-up QTE where like halfway through, like I guess you could count this. I'm being a bit pedantic, but like halfway through a heat action, sometimes it'll ask you to press triangle to continue the attack. And I guess that could sort of be one, but that's like a repeatable thing, so I say it doesn't count. My fun fact is correct. It has to be. It's less fun if it's wrong. Please stay out of my way, Haruka. Thank you. Haruka can get jammed in the stairs there, and you just slowly push her up the stairs. It's kind of dumb. But now we're on a boat. Getting close to the end of the game here. This chapter is super short, and then we basically just have the finale to go after that. Come on, skip faster, please. Thank you. What should I do here? I think I'm going to use the old strat. Here because I like it. Well, yeah, no, never mind. We're not going to use the old strat. We're going to use the new strat, which is just more gut punches. What you used to do on this fight is you used to actually try to throw these big guys overboard, just like in the koi pond back in chapter 3, except probably the water's a little bit deeper here. But if you throw them off the ship, it's a one-hit kill. Unfortunately, to throw them off the ship, you can't be wearing brass knuckles. And so it sort of just like is a trade-off. You have to do one way or the other. I'll choose grouping. A really funny thing about this fight is that some of the smaller minions are holding grenades, but they're not really programmed to know how to throw grenades. So they just punch you with it. They just hold the grenade and just punch you with it, and it does no damage, and that's all they can do.
It's bootleg brass knuckles.
Pretty much. It's kind of funny. The final boss of Yakuza 2 is also programmed that way, to where if you can manipulate him into picking up a weapon, he loses the ability to attack. And so he'll just stand there with it while you beat him up. It's really anticlimactic, but really funny. This is Shimano 2. You handle him pretty much the exact same way you handle Shimano 1. The difference is this time he has like 50 boys with him, and his boys are going to constantly interrupt me and be annoying. Also, if Shimano calls me, or if Shimano grabs me, then he's going to call an Uber, and then I have to dodge a car, which is a little bit interesting.
I don't want to jinx it, but his boys are being pretty nice here.
His boys are being... Oh, there's the Uber.
Oh, okay, never mind.
There it goes. The boys were being nice, but not Shimano himself. Wow, I really thought that he would get staggered after that last one. Okay, well, there's Shimano. Something you can try doing is picking up his sword and hitting him with it, but that's like a very sketchy strat. I don't like it. And now Kazuma is dead. See ya, Kazuma. He only existed in cutscenes, but I promise he was in the game. He's a real character, I swear. This game's actually full of characters who you'd just never know existed if you only watch the speedrun, because they just only show up in cutscenes. Meanwhile, Yuya gets like a ton of screen time. There he is again.
And that's the guy that you beat up in like the very beginning of the game, right?
Alright, so we are now in the finale. There's a little bit more movement to do on the map, but for the most part, it's down to just fights at this point. This fight has 3 phases. All 3 take place here in this room that I mentioned earlier as being terrible for grouping. That was actually not that bad. Still have a bunch of guys left to go. We're going to be fighting a bunch of these boxer-type enemies as well. What was that turn, Kiryu? What was that? I was not even touching the analog stick. Come on, there we go. We're going to start to have to deal with a bunch of these boxer enemies who are extra obnoxious because they block and dodge pretty much everything, and their sort of boxing punch has huge range. Hopefully they won't be... Yeah, see what I mean? Just dodge mid-combo. Completely whiff. Come on, there we go. These enemies are holding knives, but they're not boxers, so I don't care about them. They usually just stand there. I've never really had another time to mention this, but this run is being done on normal difficulty, even though easy is an option. The reason why is because easy is not an option on PS2. The PS2 version has an easy mode, but you have to unlock it by dying 5 times. I don't know why that decision was made, but on the PS3 version, they just said, all right, you can just start on easy and just play the whole game on easy if you want. But for parity with PS2 version, we've just always done any percent on normal. Makes the game a little bit harder.
If you is there an easy mode category?
Nope.
And for okay, because I was going to say,
I mean,
for
I'm
parity,
sure.
do PS3 runners
I'm sure
have
if
to
someone
die?
did it, then we would add it. But no one has ever done it. It's just not a thing. I don't know. That guy got me with the wake up. Yeah, I really hate doing this in a corner. This guy isn't technically a boss. He's not like a named character. He's just man in puffy black coat. But he's like worse than a lot of bosses. He can be really annoying. That's why we use a sword on him. Yeah, super free world record if anyone wants to sit down and play through this on easy, I guess. All you need is a PS3 and a Japanese-only game from 2009. Meanwhile, the joys of PS3 speedrunning, I literally cannot run this game unless I have the air conditioning on, or else my PS3 will overheat. It's just so hot. That's that. So, time for the last little bit of overworld movement. We're also going to take the opportunity to go to the casino and refill our swords one last time before the final bosses. There are some really nasty fixed encounters here that I will hopefully dodge. You avoid this guy the same way we avoided someone back in Chapter 10, but in Chapter 10, he was in a much more favorable position. So actually, that guy in the purple shirt right there is very hard to dodge. You can get walled by the pedestrians there pretty easily. Different movement here than usual as well, because I have to walk on the lower side of this street instead of the upper so that I don't get caught by that guy in the suit up by the car. Come on, talk to me, lady. I have enough chips, otherwise I would have to buy more chips right there to afford this. And there's our final 3 swords, get down to 950, so I actually almost had enough money for a 4th sword there, although I would have no use for it, and actually I don't have inventory space for it anyway. Modern Yakuza games just let you carry around as much stuff as you want, but in these earlier games we actually only have 3 inventory spaces for weapons. Yo, no encounter here, hell yeah. I get to go the fast way. That almost never happens. Alright, MIA. These guys were renamed to MIB in the English version because MIA already stands for something else.
I had to think about it for a sec. My initial thought was the rapper.
Yeah. Acronym in use, have to change it. These guys are like the... I don't even know what it's supposed to stand for. It's just like the... Intelligence Agency M? I don't know what the M is. I'm gonna go the old way here, though. I'm gonna come all the way up the stairs. Nope. Oh, come on, guys. Is this a group? Nope. As long as I keep heat, I don't have to worry about these attacks. That guy has like 1 punch left on him. It's really annoying that he somehow didn't get hit by those things. There he goes. I'm hoping that by doing this group of enemies first, I've manipulated the ones on the next level downstairs into being on, hopefully... Oh, they're on the other one. Yep, there they all are. I want them to be on the escalator so that I can group them up more easily. I picked the wrong escalator so they had time to get up. That's actually not that fast. Also, wow, I'm nearly dead. That doesn't usually happen here. I wonder how that happened. Really? I could have sworn it says MIB in English. Oh well, all my fun facts are wrong today.
Nah, stay
I had
strong.
another fun fact about how the guy who we hand the tissues to in Chapter 7 is actually got the same name as the final boss of Jet Set Radio Future, but then I found out that he doesn't have the same first name, only the same last name, and so it's probably just a coincidence. I had to discard that fun fact from the repertoire. Who's still alive? There's one guy on the other side of the room. That's unfortunate. He got stuck on something. Or wait, he's down here. How did he end up down here? That's like my fourth fun fact today that's just been completely wrong. I can just start making stuff up about this game.
Yeah, you stay strong. Don't look at chat. Believe in yourself.
Believe in my fun facts.
Yeah. I'm not going to correct you, so you could just say it.
All right, last fight and then just final bosses. These guys, MBI. Okay, yeah, I thought there was something up. I'm right, sort of. Why did you turn, Kiryu? We could have had such a good fight, and you had to go and turn. Oh, that was a bit overkill. Couldn't see his health bar. Just kind of had to guess at how much health he might have left. Alright, so Jingu Phase 1. Jingu Phase 1 is just going to get sorted. We have to deal with a bunch of his minions, and then we'll just sword Jingu. Pretty straightforward. The slightly tricky thing is that grass mound he's standing on has a bit of curvature to it, and that can actually allow him to escape from the sword combo sometimes. Hopefully it will not happen. Also, there's a weird glitch in this fight where every once in a while, once he spawns more minions, they'll just spawn at half health. We don't know what causes it. The theory is that it has to do with them spawning in on stairs or something, but like, even when they spawn on stairs, sometimes it just doesn't happen. Man, my health is so low. I'm trying to hold out. I'm trying to not heal until I get a bunch more healing items. But I'm probably gonna have to heal. Really weird that my health is so low. I don't know how that happened. And also, this corner is like the absolute worst place to be doing this in. Jeez, look at how many times my combo got broken there. It's because the corner sort of like pushes him to the side. They're gonna spawn in all right on top of me like that. I'm gonna go ahead and heal so that they don't instantly murder me. Yeah, that probably would have done it. Yep, everyone at full health this time. No luck. So now that they're all dead, Jingu then gets off his helicopter, which he just got onto to escape, but I guess he changed his mind. And so now we have to go up there and deal with him a second time. People who play Yakuza Kiwami 1 often cite this as like the most garbage boss in the game. The good thing about OG1 is that we don't have to deal with the minions. We just have to deal with Jingu. And Jingu is just as much as a babby as he's always been. You just cheese him with the sword. So as long as the minions don't combo me too hard, this is usually not that big of a deal. Yeah, Jingu. Kiwami Jingu, such a bad fight that there's an emote for him. Oh, there they go. There they go. Oh, how did that keep the combo going? That's very lucky. And that's very unlucky. Good. I'm going to have just enough sword left at the end of this fight that I can throw this at... Oh, it's going to break, though. This might not work. This is going to be a little weird of a start for the Nishiki fight, but we're going to see. this is the true final boss. This is Nishiki, another character who you just wouldn't know about if you watch the speedrun because you've literally never seen him before. But there he is. He's the final boss. He's your best bro forever, and you just wouldn't know if you skip the cutscenes. But start the fight by throwing the sword at him for a free knockdown, and hopefully we'll be able to keep this combo going more or less through all 3 phases. Doing a full combo just like that is a pretty good, yeah. Once you get into phase 2, he starts just sort of eating your attacks. He has like super armors through them. We're going into phase 3. There's really no good way to fight him in phase 3. Time will be as soon as the fight's over. Wow, he grabbed me. This actually does a ton of damage. This used to be the route before magic swords, is you would just have him grab you a bunch. I'm gonna heal. Let's just play it safe at the end. Man, you can see it's really hard to get the combo started again in phase 3. He just like phases through everything. Man, and then Kiryu won't face the right direction. There we go, time.
Woo!
Love that animation. And he's dead, or incapacitated, and then he blows himself up. Spoiler alerts for Yakuza 1. And then the whole building blows up. My final fun fact, Akiyama from Yakuza 4 is in that cutscene. Anytime I say that, everyone tells me I'm wrong, but I don't care. He's in the cutscene. See what I get here. Oh, wow, that's a rough time. Oh, well. Things happen.
Yeah, I had the unfortunate sake incident, so...
Yeah,
I
the
think it's
sake
okay.
plus the encounters.
But yeah, if people want to get into running this or other Yakuza games, where should they, what's the best place to learn?
We have a super sick Discord server, much like literally every other community. And you can join there, and people are constantly collabing on route improvements, constantly working on auto splitters because they keep breaking. If you ever want to learn a Yakuza run, hop on in. It's a good place, I promise. No bias, because it's mine. I try to keep it a good place.
Awesome.
But yeah,
shout-outs?
Shoutouts first and foremost to Xana_G, who basically, I don't even think he likes this game, but he has spent so much time routing it. This game would look absolutely nothing like it does if it weren't for the amount of effort Xana's put into routing the game. So huge shoutouts to him. Shoutouts to Big Nono for being better than me at this game as well. He just gets the shout out for that. Shoutouts to Froob for building the Yakuza community while I watched. Shoutouts, good job. And yep, that's about all I got, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the run.
Yep, don't mention it. Goodbye forever, GDQ.
Yeah. Goodbye. And like we say, the end of every run, you said it. Thank you. And goodbye forever, Tapioca. The erasing is worse because, again, I don't have a marker. I'll find one, or eraser. I'll find one eventually. All right. So we've only got 2 runs left for today. We've got Neon White and then Resident Evil 7. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break with Neon White, the first of our second FPSs tonight. First of our 2, not second. What? Anyway,